Hi, everybody. Tom Krantz here. Last week was a very melancholy week for me. I lost a friend who I had worked with in the broadcasting business and who I had recently reconnected with after not hearing or seeing from him really for almost 40 years. Rob Feldman was a TV producer at my old station, WCAU, during the 1980s. He worked at another Philadelphia station, KYW, and about that same time, he went on to work at stations in Miami. He worked at Court TV. He worked at MSNBC. But what I talked to him about during my podcast interview with him was his time as a vice president for Sony International, in which he went around the world and adapted American sitcoms to the local sensibilities in Russia, Asia, South America, and all over Europe. We spent a lot of time talking about the Russian adaptation of Everybody Loves Raymond. That was a very long running series in Russia called The Voronins, which at one point actually made the Guinness Book of World Records as the longest running adapted television show of all time because they did way over 500 episodes. And that was during the days in the early 2000s when, the whole situation between the United States and Russia was different. Things were much more relaxed. There was much more of a liberal business climate, and the political climate wasn't as tense. And of course, Vladimir Putin didn't decide to wage war on Ukraine. Rob was a lifelong amateur photographer whose talents, I think, really blossomed when he moved to rural Bucks County, Pennsylvania, which is a county just north of Philadelphia. He lived in a little town surrounded by farms and vintage buildings and old farm equipment and farmers. And he spent hours just driving around in his car with his Fuji camera, taking pictures of landscapes, Lake Nakamixon, old buildings, old equipment. And he really loved it. He posted a photograph almost every day on Instagram. And it was when suddenly there were no more photographs being posted that I knew something must have been up. Rob died of a stroke. Ironically, after spending so much of his life traveling around the world, he died of a stroke doing something that he loved in the farmlands of Pennsylvania. He had a part-time job delivering products for a local farmer, and he had a stroke during that and died later on in the hospital. I'm really going to miss Rob. A very smart guy, had a great sense of humor. He's a lifelong bachelor, single guy, and as I said, I'm going to miss him. Rest in peace, Rob Feldman, and thank you all for listening.